The second race of the day for the Bilstein Caterham Roadsport Championship. Richard Davies on pole, looking for his 6th win of the season, with Ollie Smith, the championship leader, coming into this weekend alongside him. Heinrich Watson-Miller, the gentle giant, we're going to call him, on row 2, number 47, with Mitchell Fasania alongside Carl Townend and Matthew Fox, the two near identical looking cars on row 3. James French in number 10 and Sam Eminson at 56 on the 4th row. Row 5 is number 70, that's Joe Oliver, alongside number 12, John Bond. Then Luke Wilson and Rob Hicks on row number 6. Ben Oliver on row 7 in the Brawn GP lookalike, alongside Richard Watson, had a spin in the earlier race on row 7. Row 8 is Archie Kennedy Dyson. He disappeared off towards the Shell hairpin after overrunning Island Bend in the earlier race. He starts alongside Mark Hensler in the 88s. Then number 8, Jason Spencer, and number 9, Steve Vischer. They were involved in that tangle at Cascades earlier on. And 66, Alex Dobrin in. No penalty for him this time, but he does start from the back, having failed to finish the earlier race in car number 66. So 19 cars we should see on track then for the Bilstein Caterham 7 Road Sport Championship, race number 2 here at Oulton Park. The medical vehicles at the back of the field there. The green flag has been waved by the marshals. The red and black car, Richard Davies, on pole position. The revs are up for the Caterham Road Sport Championship, sponsored by Bilstein Suspension, and we are underway. Ollie Smith, the blue car, with the McLaren Papaya stripe, as we heard earlier, down the outside, side by side into the first turn. Then Heinrich Watson-Miller in 3rd place on the inside. They're all away cleanly by the look of things. One car running out wide, that was Alex Dobrin at the back of the field, nearly lost it. He's not having a best of days, the Russian-born driver, it has to be said. Looks like Ollie Smith has taken the lead from Richard Davies as they head towards Island Bend for the first time. The blue and orange car leads the way. No, it's James French has got the McLaren Papaya stripe, isn't it? Number 10, apologies there, he's a little bit further back. So it's Smith that leads, but he's gone in a little bit hot there into Island Bend for the first time. He's side by side with Richard Davies for the lead. They've all made it round okay. Now who's going to come out into his laps with the lead? Should be Davies. He's just got the nose in front there over Hilltop. Heinrich Watson-Miller in 3rd. Then in 4th place is Matt Fox. A better get away from him. Carl Townend's dropped back into the pack. He's not been too hot off the starts today in either of our 2 races, and Davies takes the lead.
I saw a very, very brief yellow flag by a marshal on the start. I wonder whether that was Townend not getting off the line correctly. It was very brief and it was withdrawn almost immediately, but I wonder whether that's what that cause was. Let's watch then Davies come down. Once he was in the lead in the last race, he became very insistent and not giving up. A little bit of contact here and there as they were resisted the battling from behind. The road sport cars with their windscreen often have quite a lot of slipstream, even more so potentially, as it's much quicker to follow, but he is going to have to give up that lead early on, and he's going to have to slip into that 2nd place as Smith does take over in front then this time through. Mitch Fasania having to come back through the field as well, isn't he? So he's got a work to do, but I'm sure he can make it.
Yes, Townend lost 6 places on that first lap as well. Fasania lost a couple as well. He's down to 6, just behind Sam Eminson there. Smith and Davies together as they head down the avenue. Who's going to emerge into Cascades with the lead? It's Ollie Smith who's gone back to the front there. So Matt Fox trying to get round the outside of Heinrich Watson-Miller in the 47 car. Recognisable, of course, by that higher roll cage you can see there because of the height of its driver. Ollie Smith it is who leads the way once again into the right-hander. Mitch Fasania holding off James French. John Bond in the white car in behind them, swinging ahead of Joe Oliver in the number 70 machine. Over Hilltop they come then. This is where Richard Davies took the lead earlier on. Side by side for 3rd between Fox and Watson-Miller. Fox holds that 3rd position. Then Eminson, Fasania and the rest of them. There's Carl Townend just outside the top 10 at the moment. He's got Rob Hicks, the number 27 car, the blue and yellow, on his tail, and 86 of Andrew Watson next in the order.
Just dispatched of him into the chicane that time through then, so making progress back through, so clearly a car back up and running regardless of whatever the issue was that caused him to float back a little bit in the field. So still no gaps between the field yet that's going to cause interference. There's a very slight break-up, but nothing that's going to actually cause him problems, and he'll be able to get back across that as soon as this group in front start battling. In fact, he's pretty much nearly there already. He will have to make sure he's protected from the rear. There's Fasania, who's another quick driver. Also, in fact, no, that's against the other green car, isn't it? Sanya's a little bit further up the line. But Davies back in front then, over the top of Oliver. Matt Fox back into that third place at the expense of Watson Miller, who's in that in fourth place right now.
So still a long way to go in our second race for the Roadsports. Richard Davies retakes the lead from Ollie Smith. Matt Fox is up there in third place with Heinrich Watson Miller chasing in fourth. Will the order be the same when they emerge from Island Bend this time? Here they come. Watson Miller on the outside line. Richard Davies has the lead. Ollie Smith's been relegated back to fourth place, so he must have gone wide coming out of Cascades there. He's down to P4, and Mitch Fasania's been shuffled back a bit there as well in the number 18. He's lost a few spots, so he's made a mistake somewhere. Over Hilltop they come. The order is constantly shuffling. It's hard to keep up with a Caterham Roadsports race, but Heinrich Watson Miller looking to equal his best ever finish of a second place last time out at Donington on the podium in race 1. Two battles further down the order. That's the number 14, the car of Archie Kennedy Dyson. Hopefully no off-roading from him this time. Chasing Luke Wilson up Clay Hill. Matt Fox poised to attack for second place. Then it's Ollie Smith. A small gap to Eminson next in the order. It was Mitch Fasania next, but he's dropped back now. Luke Wilson up there on the outside of the 14 of Archie Kennedy Dyson. As to the inside goes John Bond attacking Sam Eminson. John Bond having a fairly strong run here, but you can see the first four have broken away. The order is Davies from Watson Miller, Fox in third, Smith in fourth, and they've broken from the rest of the field.
And this is what we saw earlier on in the season, except for with the addition of Watson Miller there. So he's, like I say, after coming good at Donington last hour, he really is firmly ensconced in this early back. In fact, going down the inside into Cascades, there's not normally an opportunity there. Will mean he's on the outside of the hairpin, so which is probably why we're not seeing it so much on the sort of island bend where you go around the longer version of this. There's more of an opportunity. Ollie's got really squeezed onto the grass there, didn't he? Had to get out away from it, and that let everyone else take the momentum over the top. So that's pushes him back to fourth place right now, with Watson Miller back into second. Emerson's got a bit of a gap now in front of him, and he's going to have to work hard. Bond just following on from him, and that's where Townend's got to as well. So he's going to be a little bit more worried about that gap now developing between this lead four and the chase group.
Watson Miller set the fastest lap of the race last time round, 1:39.692. First lap under 1 minute 40 for the category in this race.
Davies' number plate just came off as well. They went into the chicane that time. Don't know that it's contact from previously or whether it just came loose, but it's no longer on the front of his car.
Well, saves a bit of weight, I suppose. Richard Davies continues to leads the way. John Bond's going well. Looks like he could be up into fifth place now in the number 12 machine. That's the best performance we've seen from the 12 so far this year. Just checking back through his results. No, he had a third place at Spa, the number 12, the white car. Here's Mitch Fasania heading this group. He's got the virtually identical car of Richard Watson, number 86, behind him. And then Rob Hicks in there as well, side by side. The two behind there, Luke Wilson and the car of Kennedy Dyson, number 14, the sort of grey-green, military green liveried car. Rob Hicks at the inside takes Richard Watson.
Sign of a close championship when so many drivers have featured in that lead group or in the podium battles, and as the drivers just have favourite tracks or tracks that they just naturally go a bit quicker at it, they have the opportunity to get onto that. The Roadsport's definitely been one of those championships this year where different people have had that opportunity and have been showing, as we would expect, they're just starting to really get into their motorsport career. The second year, cars a little bit more race focused, slightly outbraking themselves, more number plates. That's for Sanya, isn't it? Now with a little bit of a rear arch missing, and some of the front of that car also strewn across the track now.
Behind him, Archie Kennedy Dyson has just done the fastest lap, 1:39.593 for the number 14. He was down in 14th place as he crossed the line.
Definitely a tyre rub as well from Fasania's car. He'll have to check on that. I think it's eased off as he went over the top of the hill, but you can see a little bit of haze there off that right rear. In fact, he's got off wide. Has he gone off the track? I think he struggled to turn, or is he just... Did I miss him? I think he's just behind the tower. Yes, he is.
There he is.
There he is, tucking himself behind the tower. But yeah, he definitely ran wide a little bit, and there's still that haze coming off his rear tyre.
Meantime, the battle for the lead is still headed by Richard Davies, but here comes Foxy. 99 Matt Fox has a look down the inside. He lunged across there into Lodge. He'd already taken Watson Miller on the previous lap. Ollie Smith, the championship leader, hanging on behind them. 4 cars line astern, red and black, yellow, red and black, blue and orange as they come over the line. We're still with over half the race to run. Bond in 5th place. Carl Townend has climbed back up into 6th place after his poor start. Saw him drop out of the top 10. There's Luke Wilson, number 21, running in 11th position. That's Sam Eminson just behind now. Sam Eminson must have had a moment on that previous lap because he was 5th, now he's down to 12th.
He is indeed, and Fisani did go into the pits on the end of that lap as well then,
yeah,
so he's calling it a day. Ollie Smith just again being pushed up onto that grass. He's trying the outside line, but people aren't quite giving him, or it looks from this angle like they're not quite giving him the width that he needs with his cars. The car's really sideways. We know that the temperature out there is getting slightly higher as the sun starts breaking through a little cloud layer that we've had quite a bit of the day today, but it's been perfect racing conditions, even with a few sprinkles of rain that we've had early on this morning, but no sign of that at the moment as this Roadsport race is coming to the halfway point of their last action we're going to see from them this weekend. Was that Emerson? More problem?
No, I think that's Dobrin. Alexander Dobrin at the back of the field there, the 66, quite possibly.
More adventures for him today, then he's going to put that down to an adventurous Oulton Park. Just a bit of a spin there down at the hairpin.
That's attacking up the inside there. That's Luke Wilson on the back of Rob Hicks. They were battling in race 1 as well. Still your leader is Richard Davies. This is Carl Townend. He's got ahead of John Bond now. He's back up into P5, so trying to catch the 4 leaders. What's the gap he's got to cover? The 4 leaders already gone through to complete 6 laps. They're separated by 0.8 of a second. Townend is 3 1/4 seconds further back, so he's got his work cut out in the second half of this race to try and close it on, especially with John Bond not letting him get away. He's having a strong race, John Bond, in the number 12. Davies still leads, but Matt Fox has done the fastest lap, 1:39.081, and Foxy is chasing Richard Davies for the lead.
Absolutely, and remember that's worth an extra point, which is most of the positions. The leader or the winner of the race gets a couple more points than their following driver, but everyone else is separated by 1 point, so that fastest lap point is the equivalent of overtaking, and you've seen how complicated some of those overtaking manoeuvres can be around this Oulton Park track. Townend is pulling clear of the group behind. That's going to allow him to concentrate a little bit more on the group in front, but he's only got 9 minutes to try and make it across that gap, and even if he does, he's then got to deal with these rapid drivers out front. Ollie Smith looks really good on the brakes, just unable to sort of solidify that and not able to put his car in the positions he needs to move slightly back forward again.
Just under 9 minutes of the race to go now. John Bond under fire from James French. 5-second penalty for car 86, Andrew Watson, for exceeding track limits. He's running in 9th place, so a day of struggle for the 86, unfortunately. He's a little further back behind this trio. Joe Oliver is the driver on the back of this little group.
Just as you see in Formula 1, track limits are a part of UK Motorsport. We run slightly different rules than the FIA rules that Formula 1 run to. We're allowed to use every single last bit of the track that you can see in between those 2 white lines at the edge of the track. We're also allowed to use curbs, but we are not supposed to use the greenery, which is why you see drivers getting these track limits infringements. And some of the places around MSP tracks have automated sensors, so as soon as a tyre runs onto one of those sensors, it grabs a picture and that automatically gets fed back up into race control. And you can have your first one for free, nothing happens. You can have your second one, you will then get a warning, get told that you're on the edge of breaking track limits, and if you do it a 3rd time and it's reported back, that is a 5-second penalty. If it happens again, a 10-second drive through, and then exclusion eventually happens. So yeah, important. It's all part of UK Motorsport. All the drivers know it. We get talked about it every single briefing time that we have in the morning, and so it doesn't really matter whether you agree with it or not. The grey bit of the track is for the drivers. The stripy bits you're allowed to use, but anything beyond that is not allowed.
Here come your leaders then, coming through Hislops and into Knickerbrook. Still Richard Davies holds off the 99 of Matt Fox. Up to 3rd is Ollie Smith. He's got ahead of Heinrich Watson-Miller, climbing up towards Druids. 7 minutes of the race to go. What can Ollie Smith do to try and fight his way into the top 2 here? 3 wins for Ollie this year, a couple of second places and 1 third place at Croft, so he's only been off the podium in 2 races. In fact, he's not been out of the top 4 all season. That consistency is certainly key in a championship such as this. Townend is still 3 1/2 seconds back on the top 4 in 5th position. Still battles all the way down the order.
great move, that. I don't know, is that number 14 for Kennedy?
Yes, it might have been the 14 of Archie Kennedy Dyson. Couldn't quite see the number in the late afternoon sun there. Apologies there.
You can see the indicator going there on Foxy's car, and that's not because he's indicating anything. It's purely the little indicator switch that we have on the dashboard. If you're particularly exuberant with an oversteer moment, you can accidentally click it on with your hand or the protective arm restraints they have. So that's the reason that's flicking away. He won't be meaning anything by it. It's quite a common sight to see occasionally with its indicator flicking like that.
And that's at Lodge. It was Archie Kennedy Dyson making the move for 10th place on Rob Hicks in the number 27. Good news there, good move there by Archie. In the meantime, we pick up our leaders. Ollie Smith has lost out again to Heinrich Watson Miller. He's got 3rd place now. If anything, the front two are just starting to get away very, very slightly from the two battling for the bronze medal position behind them.
Townend's going to get close, but he's not going to get there.
Carl Townend, yes, as we say, catching one thing, passing is another, but I think he's going to run out of time to catch them here because they're just under 5.5 minutes of the race to go. Going up the hill towards Druids once again. It's 0.2 of a second was the gap last time through. Let's see what Matt Fox can do here. Can he outfox Richard Davies and take the win?
Davies is a hard man to outfox. If anyone can do it, Fox can, but he's very resistant out the front. We've seen that, and absolutely once he's out in front, he will persist with that as long as he can, as is his job, I guess, as a racing driver. Bond now fighting the cars behind. He's lost contact with Townend, who is out front. Watch more bit of progress from the 14 there. Kenny Dyson, he's gone around the outside. You can see he's still got the novice cross on the rear of his car, which means he hasn't done full 6 races with signatures being received for them. So that's the reason you'll see that yellow cross on the back of the cars.
Yes, all these drivers, of course, well, most of them were novices last year when they raced in the Academy Championship.
You have to be a novice to start racing that championship, yeah.
They're running on a different calendar this year, so we haven't got them with us here today. Ollie Smith all over the back of Heinrich Watson Miller for 3rd place. It's still Richard Davies who hangs on to his lead. Chased by number 99, Matthew Fox from St Albans in Hertfordshire. Richard Davies from South Wales. Carl Townend now on his own in that 5th position. He's 3.5 seconds clear of the battle for 6th between John Bond, Joe Oliver and James French. Here is that scrap I just mentioned, by former vintage and followed up by John Bond in the number 12. Very close indeed there as they come down into our...
Thinking about 3 wide, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Decided against it.
Side by side,
leading that group.
Side by side there between Luke Wilson. Who's that on the inside? Is that Watson or is it? No, Fasani's dropped out, so it must be Watson in the 86. But he's got that penalty to add on as well. He's 11th at the moment. There's Joe Oliver, number 70.
Absolutely on the raggedy edge there of using every single last bit of track. Great to see.
Line astern here. This is for 5th position, for 6th position even. Less than 3 minutes to go. Fastest lap of the race recorded by Ollie Smith in 4th position. That time through 1:38.8. So the 4 leaders now all lapping in the 1:38. That time through. The top 5 all set personal bests last time around.
Oh, bit of contact there actually.
Yes.
Another missed gear, I think, or didn't get down into the gear below. Which has caused them to just stall on the way out of the track, on their way out of the corner.
James French there, clipping the back of, that must have been Joe Oliver in that battle. There's a scrap further back in the order. Archie Kennedy Dyson continuing to...
All contact there.
Now, who's that? I think that's Ben Oliver, the number 80.
Yeah, quite a lot of contact there going into the... He just outbraked himself and just absolutely walloped the back of the car in front. At the moment, it looks like his nose cone's okay. Although he's very slow there. I wonder whether he's cautious about whether that's leaking fluid, and that is the right thing to do. You don't want to fly back onto the track and find that you're blow your engine up. But here is that lead quartet then, 1:42. Are they going to get over the line? I think this will be the start of their last lap then. They've only got 37 as they go over the line. So yes, I believe this will be the last lap, but it's absolutely close. Davies though out in front, and there is his Fox, his erstwhile follower. I'm sure, whether the board went out, who knows, but I would call this as the last lap. It's certainly close enough that it will be. So we've watched then this quartet. They've been out front all race long. Who's going to come out on top?
Less than 0.6 of a second covers the top four as they cross the line that time through. Davies continues to lead from Matt Fox in second place. Fox will know that he's got to attack on this lap. Heinrich Watson-Miller tries to turn in on Ollie Smith there to stop him getting the nose up the inside. That's happened a couple of times already in this race. They climb line astern over Hilltop. It's going to be touch and go whether it is the last lap here. Wait, see if the checkered flag does come out this time by, as into Hislops comes the number 25 from the 99 of Matt Fox, looking to his first win of the season. He's had a couple of seconds. He's had 3 second places and 1/3 so far this year. He hasn't managed to win in the Bilstein Caterham Roadsport Championship yet.
This is the last lap. Fox has only got one more opportunity, really, isn't he, into the final corner. We haven't seen anyone drag race past by the time they get to the line, so this is his last chance.
Here they come up towards Lodge Corner. What looks to be the final time. Which side's he going to go? Davies covers the inside. Ollie Smith going for the inside into Lodge, but Heinrich Watson-Miller cuts him off. It looks like it is going to be a double for Davies here at Oulton Park today. The clock counts down to 0 as they come through Dearly.
They are given the checkered flag.
And the checkered flag does come out. Davies wins it from Fox by 1/10 of a second. A photo finish there, almost for third between Watson-Miller and Smith. Watson-Miller gets it. And then for 5th place it will be Carltown in. John Bond is going to come in for 6th. He's pulled away slightly from the next two. It's Joe Oliver 7th. A photo finish for 8th as well. Yes, French just gets there ahead of Kennedy Dyson. Luke Wilson will complete the top 10 because Andrew Watson gets that penalty, which will drop him down the order to 13th.
So the number 80 of Ben Oliver is going to finish after that contact, so he did continue on. Great looking car. It's a shame about that contact, ruined his race at the end, but he is going to cross the line.
Provisional results in just a moment then. That is win number 6 of the season for Richard Davies, star of the Academy.
Back in winning ways, isn't he?
Last season he certainly is.
Started the season so strong, then had a little bit of a difficult middle patch, but absolutely back to being resistant out front at the moment. Great racing all round by the Roadsports today. Really fun to watch that. But let's have a look at the provisional results.
Provisional result then of the Bilstein at Caterham Roadsports Race 2. Richard Davies the winner by 1/10 of a second over Matt Fox in second, and Heinrich Watson-Miller, a fine meeting for him, another 3rd place ahead of Ollie Smith. Just wait and see if when the calculations come out, if he's kept his championship lead this weekend. Carltown end in P5 despite a slow start. Then John Bond, Joe Oliver, James French, Archie Kennedy Dyson came through nicely for 9th ahead of Luke Wilson. Behind them were Rob Hicks, Stephen Vischer from the back of the grid. Watson, after that penalty was applied, Richard Watson rather, was 13th. Then we've got Sam Eminson, Mark Hensler, Jason Spencer, Ben Oliver dropped to 17th, a problem on that last lap, and Alex Dobrin completed the finishes. We lost Mitchell Fasania, he pulled into the pits with a bit of damage.
Well, Richard Davies did not get on the podium at Donington Park, and he didn't even get on the podium at Spa-Francorchamps. And the last time he did the triple like this was at Croft for the 2nd round back in May. But he returns to the top step in some fashion. Congratulations to Richard Davies, who was on pole. He won race 1 and he won race 2. Richard, no, you take your time. You take your time. I'm going to bow down to you, sir, because what an absolute stormer of a weekend you've had. You've just been unstoppable in this car. I have so many questions I could ask you. Take a sip of water. Relax. That is one sweaty race
very
out
hot
there.
Race. Amazing.
You must be knackered. I think I heard you say, I'm tired.
I'm knackered. I struggle to get out the car. Yeah, but it's just no let up around this track. It's just 100% focus. And the adrenaline is through the roof. Especially driving with some of these drivers on this grid are just incredible. It's so close. It's just... That is fair, it's brilliant. Loved it.
Well, what do you think it is about Oulton Park that's made you so successful this weekend?
I I think the twisty technical tracks tend to suit me better rather than the toe heavy standard different kind of tracks like Cadwell Park and things. So yeah, it kind of suits my strengths.
And you couldn't really ask for best this weekend. You were on pole and then have won both of them as well. When you look back at this weekend at the end of the season, how do you think you'll summarise it?
A dream, a complete dream, and a fever dream of that. Yeah, amazing. Can't believe it. Nice to be back up here.
Absolutely. It's nice to see you back at that. Get some more water down you. You must be absolutely knackered.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations again. What an amazing result it has been for Richard this weekend. We did have Matt Fox back on the podium in P2 and Heinrich Watson-Miller. See this roll cage, this big one? It's not too bad for him. Made him get a P3 result. We'll see if we can catch up with him actually. I know he is chatting away to his other competitors. Heinrich, see that roll cage ain't too bad, is it?
No, did good. I think that's 4 podiums in a row now for me, so very happy. Would have loved to have gone forward 1 or 2 places, but honestly, I felt like Matt, and couldn't really see Rich, he didn't have the toe, but certainly Matt was a couple of tenths quicker than me, so just had to sit behind and fight Ollie off. And I think third was probably the best we could have done today, so I'm happy.
Yeah, but fighting off championship leader Oliver Smith, I mean, it might not be now, I don't have the updated standings, but coming into this weekend, he was leading it. So defend him off, that's not a bad result, is it?
No, look, I was very happy with it. So yeah.
Lovely, you must be knackered. I've just spoken to Richard, he's tired too. Gonna have a lie down, get some water down you. Congratulations, a great result for him too. Like I said, 4 times on the podium now, and consistency will be key come the end of the season. Right, it is time now for the final race for the 270R Championship, and I was lucky enough to be back in the assembly area earlier on to catch up with some of the drivers ahead of their final race.
Hello, welcome back for final debrief of the Oulton Park weekend. So race 2 was a couple of hours after race 1, so not a huge amount of time to turn things around. But yeah, we was back out before we knew it. And from P5 on the grid, I was kind of hoping for a better challenge up front. What happened was I completely screwed up lap 1. Probably my worst lap 1 since the wet one at Spa. And you know, I remember talking to sort of friends and family who were watching immediately after the race. They all assumed I'd had some sort of contact or gone off track or something that the coverage didn't pick up. But no, there was no issues. I was just a bit hesitant into turn 1, and then kind of ended up on the outside of the track with a queue of cars on the inside. And then I've watched it back a bunch of times as part of editing this, and I can't pick out a single mistake, just lots of little hesitations. And I think the more I was thinking about those hesitations, I was then making more hesitations, like going into the hairpin, so lost another couple of places. So yeah, really not ideal, and it put me back. Probably the lowest I've been on the grid. In the running order. Since being like P17 back at Thruxton in Academy after I had contact. So, yeah, with quite a long line of cars ahead of me, I had to quickly wake myself up because I clearly wasn't woken up on the grid and see if I could make those places back. So after that, it was actually very, very, very enjoyable. I had some great little ding-dongs with the guys around me. Good scrap with John Bond to sort of prize that P5 back out of him. But then sort of for the second or the final third of the race, I just couldn't quite get back onto the lead pack. I was just outside of the slipstream range, and my pace wasn't good enough to creep up to that. And that's really a credit to the guys in the top 5, in the top 4. They were having a scrap for the win and still turning in some excellent lap times, which is, I think it's the first time we've really seen that. Usually the lead fight, we compromise loads of lap time. So what we end up with is just a queue of cars, like the whole top 10 is sort of queued up, going over the line within a few seconds of each other. But it's quite a rare occasion that we've ended up with a breakaway. And I just couldn't get onto the back of that breakaway. I think I ended up 6 or 7 seconds ahead of John and James in the fight that was going on there, but 4 or 5 seconds back from from the lead. So I was just in no man's land, and my laps weren't great. I look back at those laps, they were a little bit scruffy. I maybe could have closed that gap, because all you have to do is get within 3 seconds, I guess, and then you start picking up a bit of slipstream, and then you sort of exponentially start gaining. But yeah, probably missed opportunity. But yeah, 2 P5s over the race weekend, and the car's fine. I've got it up on axle stands now. This is a couple of weeks later, 10 days later, something like that, I don't know. And there's nothing really to do. I'm just doing my sort of checks. But the car's fine. I've got no excuses with the car. The car felt fine all weekend. So there's no sort of setup gremlins or whatever I can point the blame at. Just something about Saturday, I think more human than machine. I just wasn't quite on it, which is disappointing, because as I said on the race 1 debrief, I was feeling really good in testing. So some Kyle things to work on rather than car things. We do have a couple of jobs that need doing before the next race meeting. Battery, so I borrowed a race compliant battery off of Jamie, off of his 310 for the race. My battery's dead, and I'm just waiting on availability from Caterham on the new lithium ones that are replacing the banners. And then once I've got the lithium one in, I'm probably going to have to put some ballast in the car to meet weight, because I think it's a few kilos lighter. So yeah, a couple of little bits to do before Knock Hill. Unsure whether I'll be on track before Knock Hill. I certainly won't be going up to Knock Hill for track day. It's a bit far, and they don't seem to do that many days. But yeah, sort of get the car sort of tidied away, get this battery sorted, get it a sort of light service, and then head out for Knock Hill. So yeah, I will see you from Scotland.